that we have about functions. Linear functions, mx plus b, have domain and range that is the same, all real numbers, because we have no reasons to exclude any of those. On the other side, we have quadratic functions. All quadratic functions of the type ax squared plus bx plus c have domain that is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Again, all real numbers. And this holds for all quadratic functions. The same holds for all polynomial functions. Again, what we have are domains from negative infinity to positive infinity. So this holds for all linear, quadratic, and polynomial functions. The same is true for cubic root functions. Cubic root functions, whenever you have a cubic root, or any odd, for that matter, radicand in your root, the domain and the range for these functions is from negative infinity to positive infinity. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, all of them. Now let's focus on how we exclude some points when we calculate different functions. One case are the square root functions. Anything that is under the square root should be positive. So the domain for square root numbers are all the numbers that are greater or equal to minus b over a if under the root you have a linear function. So in this case we have x plus 5. X plus 5 is under the root. So what we need to do is solve x plus 5 greater or equal to 0. So this means that x must be greater or equal to negative 5. So the domain is from negative 5 to plus infinity, but remember that we have to include the negative 5, so we have bracket on the negative 5. Rational functions. Also, we need to exclude some numbers. And these are the numbers that make the denominator equal to 0. So, in the case that we have a linear function at the denominator, we have to solve it and find the number that makes it 0. 2x plus 4 should be different than 0. In order for this to be different than 0, then x must be different than negative 2. So, we have to exclude from our domain the negative 2. From negative infinity to negative 2, union from negative 2 to positive infinity. What we exclude here is the number negative 2 with the parenthesis. In general, for rational functions, the domain should exclude all the numbers that they make the denominator equal to 0. Right here we can see the different cases for the domains. It's just an explanation, and we can understand what we should do in order to make sure that our domains are, how to find our domains looking at the graph. So when we have a curve like the one that you see here, the linear function, a line, we should try and see as the line moves to positive infinity on the right and negative infinity on the left, the specific one, we can see that all the points on the line, they have some x values that they appear on the entire x-axis. So this simply means that includes all the real numbers. While on the right side you have a rational function and you have to exclude the number 8 because the number 8 is what makes the denominator 0. This makes the graph quite strange. It splits into two branches and that they diverge from each other in order to exclude the number 0. Now let's focus on ranges, especially ranges for quadratics. When the parabola that you have has a minimum, let's say the one that you see that is at minus 46, then this is the minimum point that you have. So you focus on the y-axis and you want to see what is the minimum point, the minimum y coordinate that a point can have for this parabola. And this, of course, is the minimum of the parabola, the negative 46. So in this case, all the other points have above the negative 46 have some y coordinates that they correspond to numbers on the y-axis that are above negative 46. They are bigger than negative 46. So the domain is, the range is from negative 46 to plus infinity. When you have a maximum on your parabola, the same thing happens, but the domain now, the range now is from negative infinity to plus 46. In the specific PowerPoint slide, we can see that we have a mistake, because the 46, next to 46, we should have a bracket. The 46 on the right side and the negative 46 on the left side, they should be included in the range. So we should have a bracket. Pay attention to that, because there is a typo on the slide. Now, let's see piecewise functions. What we want is to see how we can graph